in which New Jersey came in ninth in innovation as a state. Now, the report was done by Massachusetts, and they happened to come up as number one. So they not only did the report, they made themselves number one. But that was, I think that was pretty encouraging that we were in the top 10, because sometimes the state gets a little bit too down on itself, and then they realize, just like Michael said here, it's got a legacy of innovation anywhere from Edison to the Bell Labs. So we're not that far off the pack in competing, but we do have to change some things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that there's all this hand-wringing going on, like we're not New York, we're not Silicon Valley, we're not Denver, or Austin, or Boston, and I think we're finally getting to the point where we're saying, who cares? Like, what difference does it make? We need to use New Jersey's unique resources to build our own culture. And I heard Jay Body, I don't know if you know him, he's a venture capitalist who works out at Bellworks. Now, he gave a TED Talk a year or two ago where he was saying we should sort of model ourselves more like Seattle, where it's always raining and they don't have the pressure and the lure to get distracted, basically, and they can go and they can build, they've got time to breathe, and they can build their own unique products. And I kind of feel like that's starting to come together.
I would piggyback off of that, as well as comments earlier about the idea that the suburbs aren't necessarily, or shouldn't necessarily be excluded from this. And we kind of see that. I think one of the best kept secrets about New Jersey is that it isn't just, even though it's an entirely, I guess, by federal regulations, an urban area, it's not. And there are a lot of areas where you do have space to build out. Even as far south as Cape May, they do have an incubator there, and it's doing really well. And no one really necessarily knows about it. It's not in the mainstream coverage the way that Hoboken or Camden or New Brunswick or anywhere else, or Asbury Park, is. But it's still happening all over the state, and that's important because it's an economic point. It's spurring redevelopment in areas where maybe we didn't think that was going to happen, or where places had possibly lost hope, or we're trying to figure out how to come back, and that's been one of the key spaces.
So I agree with pretty much everything that's been said here. I wanted to say to Michael that you didn't mention Bellworks, which is in your area, which is a tech hub on its own, and is redeveloping the old Bell Labs building there in Homedale, and a lot of tech companies are moving in there. So that's another area in the suburbs that's it's a big story for tech in New Jersey.
Just to add on to that, because we've both been there for the past couple of years, and I don't know, I was took a tour there 2 years ago in August and walked around the building, and there was no chance. I mean, there was no way that was going to work. And 2 years later, a lot had to fall in place and a lot had to fail, but sure enough, it's come along.
Well, and I'll just say that obviously the suburbs are important. One of the things I've learned is you always know when your competition's in the room. And so Lyft is here, and I know we're both battling for the suburbs. And so I think you're right that the suburbs are making a resurgence. And I'm going to put my money on one company, but that's just me. So this is going to be a lightning round. So if two people answer the question, you do not get to answer. Okay? The most undercovered issue in tech in New Jersey.
Well, I think it's education and tech education in general, and I think that the next governor, or whatever, should pay attention to K through 8 education and make sure there's a curriculum there that has tech involved, because you have to prepare the workforce for the future. And of course, all you great tech companies that are out here, you know that it's so tough to get talent, and the only way we're going to do it is by developing our homegrown talent.
I take it from the entrepreneurial perspective is that there's not enough understanding of the risk that entrepreneurs have to take, and that they're writing checks for 2, 3, 4 years for the benefit of the state, But when they finally are successful, the state is not necessarily as friendly or supportive as they should be. Risk-taking, cannot state enough, is just not understood by people who are not entrepreneurs. And when you're doing a Techstars, that's a lot of money.
Okay. None of you are here for this. The most overcovered tech issue in the state of New Jersey.
I'm at a loss.
Okay, we'll hold it because we all know that sometimes we talk glowingly about some things far too much, and then that sucks up all the oxygen. You two have one. I know you. Most overblown, overcovered. If you never pick up the Asbury Park Press and read about this tech thing again.
Well, it's more like, from my vantage point, it's more like story pitches that we'll get from startups with the new app. I'm 20 years old, I'm 8, and I've got this new thingy. And so we kind of like to, I think that's kind of like to let some of these companies develop before we start covering them.
I will agree with that. Thanks for being brave enough to say it.
Well, the question's coming. I have a very specific question for you guys.
Well, it's on that point because, and I've seen this in places, especially when I keep my eye on the PR companies. They're telling everyone to be aggressive, to get their name out in the paper and to get coverage. And the problem with that is that when I ask them, well, are you going to tell me how much money you made? Or are you going to get into the details so that I can tell someone why the hell you're important? They don't want to get into that. And so that's, I'm sure, frustrating for me as well as you, just every time. It's nice that you started something new. It's nice that you're, being entrepreneurial, but you can't expect us to just cover it because you started something and you think that we're not a stepping stone for you. That's
There we go. The most tech-friendly politician who's not in the room. He's right here. He does well. But in terms of that are putting forth innovative ideas, thinking about this stuff, being creative, pushing the conversation on tech in a good way.
Boy.
If the answer is none, the answer can be none.
I've run into both of these candidates at tech events. Phil Murphy, I heard speak at TED in Navasink a couple years ago, and Lieutenant Governor Botano has been at every ribbon cutting there's been, and we'll gladly give you her phone number, I'm sure.
609-570. Do you want to? So I'm going to spin the question then. It sounds like there's less daylight between the two candidates on the issue of tech.
Probably so. I think there are elected leaders who don't get it. And I think we saw that during the shutdown. It was like, what planet are you, who would shut the government down over this? So, without thinking about the impact, and I know Angela was talking about it really didn't have, in the short term it didn't, but again, we're talking about this completely avoidable crisis that was manufactured. And the result was going to be, they're going to destabilize the state's health insurance system. And entrepreneurs should be worried about that. So I think there's that type of thinking really could use some work.
and I would piggyback
It's a 2. Remember, this is a 2. So is it good? Do you want to share?
So the only thing I want to say is that the government the legislatures are not giving enough thought to tech at all. And I think that they don't realize that this is what's revitalizing the state. And yes, I've seen the lieutenant governor at all of these events many times. And yes, she does support the tech industry in New Jersey. But there's more to it than the way, talking about supporting it. You really need to get out there and think about what will be good for tech and listen to what the tech community is saying, and do